Hello, I'm CJ Werleman, and in this episode we expose Israel's strategic effort to hide the number of Israeli soldiers killed by the Palestinian resistance in Gaza. But first, please remember to like and subscribe to our show. Now let's get into it. New footage from the Jordanian Air Force shows the total and complete devastation of Gaza at the hands of the Israeli military. This is what happens when the world's most powerful military helps a rogue Jewish state in the Middle East drop the equivalent of 6 atomic bombs on one of the world's most densely populated areas, leaving upwards of 400,000 Palestinians dead and with nearly 2 million survivors too weak to fight for scraps of food, as Israel stubbornly refuses to end its genocidal starvation policy.
עזה, וכל ילד בעזה צריך למות מרעב. בושה וחרפה, שבכלל במדינה שלנו מדברים על ילדים רעבים. פשוט להשמיד אותם ולא להתייאש מהעבודה, לא להתייאש מהקולות וגם לא להתייאש מקמפיין הערבה.
You've got to ask yourself the question, why does Israel need to starve Palestinian children to death if it's winning the war against Hamas? Well, the answer should be obvious. You see, after 2 full years of combat, Hamas remains very much alive, as the Israeli military reaches the brink of total exhaustion, and the brink of mutiny, as Israeli leaders point to the real possibility of civil war. You see, Israel, through its air power superiority, is desperate for you to believe its ground forces are immensely strong, when in reality they've never been weaker, more cowardly, and more vulnerable for counterattack. Which is why Israel is deliberately and strategically hiding evidence of mass Israeli military casualties in Gaza at the hands of the Palestinian resistance. Now let's be clear, this is not my allegation. This is the allegation made by former Israeli military and intelligence leaders, who are now stepping forward to accuse the Israeli government and military of hiding at least half the number of Israeli soldiers killed and injured while committing genocide in Gaza. Their claim supported in an investigation by an Israeli newspaper last year, when it found the total number of Israeli soldiers admitted to hospital with serious injuries is 2 to 4 times higher than the number of casualties the Israeli government has publicly acknowledged.
So Israel, first of all, was extremely cagey. They did not want to release numbers at all. Then under pressure, they stated that 1,593 soldiers had been wounded since October 7th. However, when Haaretz actually went to the hospitals, they say the results of their investigation showed a considerable and unexplained gap between the data reported by the military and that from the hospitals.
In February, Israel's newly appointed chief of staff confirmed the accuracy of Haaretz's reporting in admitting there's a significant discrepancy between actual IDF losses in Gaza and figures previously reported by the Zionist army, stating that the number of soldiers killed and wounded is much higher than officially disclosed. His words echoed by the Israeli opposition leader, who slammed Netanyahu for hiding and downplaying IDF casualties, saying that the real number of IDF casualties can be found inside the wards of Israel's hospitals.
היה 7 באוקטובר, אנשים מתו, אנשים במנהרות בעזה, 13 לוחמים נהרגו אתמול ועוד 13 יהרגו מחר, אם הממשלה הזאת לא תעשה משהו. אי אפשר להעמיד פנים שזה לא קרה. אי אפשר להעמיד פנים שעכשיו אפשר להתייחס לזה כאילו כמו שהיה 11,000 פצועים, 890 הרוגים. אתה רוצה להגיד לי שהכל נראה אותו דבר? הצבא לא חולק על שום דבר, זה הנתון, זה הפצועים, זה ההרוגים. יש גבול לכמה אנחנו נתייחס לאמיתות אלטרנטיביות, אלה העובדות. אנשים, תלך, אם אתה יש לך ספקות בנתון הזה, סע לתל השומר, סע לאיכילוב, סע לרמב"ם. היה 7 באוקטובר.
According to official figures from the Israeli military, 861 soldiers have been killed and 5,921 others injured in Gaza since October 2023. But these numbers are outrageously inaccurate and low, and meant only to fool Zionists into believing that everything is going as planned. Because as we know all too well, Israel lies about everything, especially anything that might convey its weakness and vulnerabilities. It's spending $150 million on propaganda while claiming it doesn't have enough money to feed Gaza. The truth, according to a senior Israeli military officer, is that Hamas has killed 10 times as many Israeli soldiers as the Israeli government claims, with another telling an Israeli newspaper that more than 10,000 IDF soldiers have been killed or seriously injured. The same IDF commander pointed to the registration of at least 5,942 bereaved Israeli families since the October 7 attacks, with some families having more than one family member killed while carrying out genocidal operations. And this says nothing about the thousands of Israeli soldiers who have become crippled, disabled, or mentally incapacitated due to the trauma suffered in being struck hard by Palestinian resistance fighters and the guilt associated with murdering innocent Palestinian civilians.
There are almost 1,000 Israeli soldiers who have been killed during this conflict. There are more than 12,000 gravely wounded. And what we're seeing now is a spate of suicides. We have known for a while here in Israel that post-trauma and trauma is really basically a plague among the soldiers who've served in Gaza. But
one former Israeli soldier who has fought multiple wars in Gaza told the Israeli parliament how he feels totally abandoned by his government.
ואני שומע את הגברת המכובדת הזאת שאומרת דברים שהם לא נכונים, ואני אסביר לך. אתם מדברים פה על הנכים החדשים, שאתם בינתיים, הנכים שיושבים פה, ועוד עשרות מופקרים, אני מדבר עליי, אוקיי? עליו. מופקרים, וסליחה שאני אומר את זה בצורה כזאת בוטה, הדם שלנו, שהדם הנפשי, זה על כל אחד שאמור לטפל. ותן לך דוגמה, אני הפכתי להיות אלכוהוליסט. אני הפכתי להיות עני, בחובות שלי מעלה מ-800,000 שקל. אני מעוקד מכל הכיוונים. את האישה הזאת כמעט הרגתי כמה פעמים בידיים שלי, מתוך שינה. אני משתין בלילה, אני מפחד, אני לא ישן בחדר. אם אני לא שותה בקבוק הרג ביום, אני לא עולה לישון. אין סיכוי. את מדברת איתי, סליחה שאני מוצא זה עליך.
Mounting Israeli casualties is why an advisor to former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak compares the situation in Gaza to the unwinnable US war in Vietnam, where unacceptable casualty levels among US soldiers meant the Viet Cong only had to survive to win. He says that it may sound daft to suggest that a group of armed irregulars, numbering in the low tens of thousands, besieged and with little access to advanced weaponry, is a match for one of the world's most powerful militaries, backed and armed by the United States. And yet, an increasing number of establishment strategic analysts warn that Israel could lose this war on Palestinians despite the cataclysmic violence it has unleashed. He's certainly not the first, and certainly won't be the last to compare Israel's invasion of Gaza with America's failed war in Vietnam. In fact, it's a comparison being made by all former Israeli military and intelligence leaders today.
את מדינת ישראל לאובדן ביטחונה וזהותה.
אנחנו נמצאים שנה בהרבה פלוס, מעבר לנקודה שבה היינו יכולים.
אנחנו כרגע בעיקר מקזזים הפסדים.
אנחנו קברנו את ההישגים האלה.
לא מכיר צבא שניצח גרילה. אנחנו כרגע נמצאים במצב סטטי ברצועת עזה. צבא שלא נמצא בתנועה הוא צבא שנפגע.
לא חשוב כמה צבא יהיה טוב. מלחמה ללא מטרה מדינית גוזרת תבוסה.
המלחמה היום היא מלחמת שולל.
שילמנו מחירים. בנפגעים, הרוגים, יותר מדי. ההישגים שלנו שם די מוגבלים. הנזקים הבינלאומיים הם כבדים, ולא קידמנו כרגע שום דבר בנושא החטופים.
מה שהעולם רואה היום זה יציר כפינו. אנחנו מסתתרים מאחורי שקר שאנחנו יצרנו. השקר הזה נמכר לציבור הישראלי, ולצערי הרב העולם כבר מזמן מבין שזאת לא תמונה.
Israel's genocidal operations have not only exhausted and depleted the Zionist army, but also has isolated the country diplomatically, fractured the country's social cohesiveness while leaving the economy in catastrophic ruin. The future has never looked so grim for the Israeli occupation. Its soldiers are being hunted and arrested as war criminals around the world, as Israeli citizens are banned and deported from popular tourist destinations. For all of these reasons, the IDF is facing its biggest military refusal crisis in decades, with more than 100,000 reservists no longer showing up for duty. This is tantamount to mutiny. And this right here presents Israel's enemies with a rare golden opportunity to attack the Zionist occupation, because what this says in bold letters out loud is Israelis don't wish to die defending their manufactured country because they know at their core that the land doesn't belong to them. Nobody wants to die defending stolen property. A message that was conveyed this week by a captured Israeli soldier in Gaza who blamed his country for starving Palestinians and Israeli POWs to death.
שלום רב לכל מי שצופה בסרטון הזה. קוראים יורם ברסלבסקי. אני בן 22 בירושלים, חייל בצבא ההגנה לישראל, ואני אסיר של שרה אל-קודס ג'יהאד אסלאמי יותר משנה ו9 חודשים. אני כבר שנתיים נמצא פה בעזה, שנתיים שאני סובל עקב מערבות גדעון הזאתי שהבאתם עלינו. אני לא מצליח לישון, אני לא מצליח לחיות. אני חש שתוציאו אותי מפה. אתם חייבים לעצור את מה שאתם עושים פה. החיילים של השריה נתנו לי לראות טלוויזיה, ונתנו לי לראות ילדים מתים מרעב, כולו עצמות. בעיניים שלי אני רואה את הילדים שלהם, עצמות. זה לא הגיוני וזה התעללות בחפים מפשע.
Look, sorry if I don't feel an ounce of pity for him. He knew he was joining the military of a criminal occupation. He knew he would be participating in genocide, so zero shits given. I mean, how does one feel any empathy for any occupying force that not only commits genocide, but whose genocidal actions enjoy support from 85% of the total Israeli population? You can't. But let me finish with this. Gaza is being starved to death, and not only at the hands of Israel, but also at the hands of the Egyptian government, which is actively blocking life-saving aid from entering the territory, while it arrests and jails activists who protest against the blockade. Please sign and share this petition, which demands legal action against Egypt for its role in Gaza's humanitarian crisis. Every signature adds pressure. And I'll post a link in the comment sections below this video. Thanks for watching, and please remember to subscribe to this channel, and we kindly ask you please support our effort to expose and confront injustices in the Muslim world by becoming a member of this show at patreon.com/CJWerleman. We can't produce, sustain and grow the show without your help, and we offer exclusive benefits to those who do. But for now, good night, good morning, wherever you are, and stay blessed.